Hello, welcome to this course on Environment Management System ISO 14001. This course will be divided into many such videos and we will cover the requirements of ISO 14001 one by one in these videos. ISO 14001 talks about Environment Management System. How we will ensure that we do not pollute, we do not waste resources, we do not waste energy during our operations. How we will ensure that the continual improvement of our environmental performance takes place. These are the goals of this standard. This standard, like any other standard of ISO series, starts with first defining a proper scope of our implementation. What is the premises we are talking? Any land, any water bodies which are near to our factory or our premises, those things should be considered while deciding the scope of environment management system. Once we decide the scope, then we have to make our environmental policy. Environmental policy is the overall intentions of our top management with respect to environment management system. The environmental policy is a publicly available document. Environmental policy should talk about the commitment of organization with respect to prevention of pollution and continual improvement of the performance of environment management system. It should also cover the compliance to legal and other requirements related to environment management system. Once we make the policy, then we have to look at the most important and backbone of this standard. That is, do a study of aspects which are important for environment point of view. These are called environmental aspects. Environmental aspects are the interactions of companies' activities with the environment. So whenever we interact with air, we interact with water bodies, or when we interact with land, our activities, our pollutants, our material, we call this as an environmental aspect. If a solvent is kept in a drum or a lubricant is kept in a drum, it is not leaking, then it is not interacting with the land or water bodies or any other environmental element. Once a drum leaks, once an spillage takes place while transferring the lubricant from one container to the other container, if there is any leakage or spillages or such kind of aspects, we call it as an environmental aspect. So we have to study our processes and identify what is the possibility of any environmental aspects taking place. These environmental aspects are related to pollution, which is land pollution, water bodies pollutions, or air pollutions, or noise pollutions, or it may be related to the non-conservation of energy, or maybe the waste of resources. Our processes are not optimized, so we are using excess resources, so that is also an environmental aspect. Then there is another term called environmental impact. For every aspect, there are environmental impacts. Environmental impacts means what kind of harm, what kind of effect it has on land or water or air. So environmental impacts are mostly limited to land pollution, water bodies pollutions, air pollutions, noise pollution, deforestation, ozone layer depletion, greenhouse gas emissions. Like that, there are environmental impacts which are to be considered when doing these studies. The standard requires that we have to keep this information up to date so that we are continuously working on our environment management system. The next requirement of ISO 14000 talks about the legal compliance. First, we have to identify which legal requirements are applicable to our company's operation. There are state laws, there are central government laws, there are ministries which we have to comply their requirements. These are all considered as legal requirements. Various acts are there in our constitution. We have to abide by those acts. There is a pollution control requirement, there is a Environmental Protection Act, there is a gas cylinder rules, there is a ozone depletion substances control rules, there are noise control rules. So all those rules are to be followed, and first they have to be identified. That is called the legal compliance identification. Then we have to make a procedure how we will ensure that the legal information is kept up to date. Besides legal, there are some other requirements also which are not so legal in nature. The acts are not there for such aspects, but still they are the requirements of interested bodies. They are the requirements of nearby villagers, Gram Panchayat's requirement, nearby factory associations requirement, or any such customers requirements. So we have to identify legal as well as these other requirements for ensuring that our environmental aspects are properly aligned to take care of these legal and other requirements.